Hello and welcome back everybody to the Food Build Factory, where today, after quite a long absence from the channel, we're going to take a look at Peppa. That's the girl you can see on screen right now. And as always, I'm going to show you some gameplay in the first part of the video, and in the second half of the video we are going to take a look at the perks, mutations, equipment, and everything else you need to know in order to recreate the character if that's what you want to do. So let's get right into it. What this is going to be about, as you can probably tell, is we are going to utilize the newly added Pepper Shaker, which is a weapon I honestly completely forgot was going to be added. And as it happens, yeah, I actually was working on a shotgunner build that, rather than focusing on damage itself, was focused on utilizing fast-firing shotguns. So what we are doing here is we are also carrying a quad explosive double barrel shotgun and a quad explosive pump action shotgun that uses the hair trigger receiver. Maybe I want to showcase this because that's actually what the character was meant to be like. And yeah, then I logged in and was completely perplexed that midweek is back on, and I was actually quite lucky getting the Pepper Shaker plan very fast. So yeah, this here weapon was what I originally intended to use, but now we're using the Pepper Shaker, which is basically the perfect thing for this character here. So overall, what I wanted to do here is, pretty much every single person that makes Fallout 76 content has made a video about this weapon here, so I figured I want to do something that I have not seen yet, which is actually someone using it outside of power armor. So far, every single showcase I've seen, I mean, I'm sure there are other ones, but yeah, every single one so far has been a power armor build, for a good reason, that is. The reasoning why you will see so many people use it in power armor is quite simple. If you're watching other shotgunner videos I made in the past, one pretty consistent thing that I complain about is that shotguns really suffer from not having any armor penetration perk. Pretty much every single other weapon class does have access to perks that increase its armor penetrations, and shotgunners don't have this, which is even more crippling on shotgunners for the simple fact that due to the way that your damage is split up between all the pellets, you already suffer from armor penetration quite a lot, and not having access to any perk makes this even worse. And finally, with the Pepper Shaker, which is a hybrid weapon between heavy gunner and shotgunner, you actually have access to such a perk in form of Stabilized, which you can utilize when you're using the weapon in power armor. And yeah, that makes a pretty significant difference, and I obviously tested this weapon with power armor already, and yeah, it definitely makes a good difference, but I wanted to see just how good you can get away with this weapon just by using it outside of power armor, and I'm happy to announce that, yeah, still works fine. It's a very great weapon. I do like it. I think it's sometimes a little bit overpraised by some people. It's not as crazy as some people make it seem, but it actually is quite a lot of fun. It's relatively powerful. There's not a lot of content you can really finish with this weapon here. It has some drawbacks though, and we're going to see them rather soon, I guess. So the weapon we are using here, by the way, is a Furious version with 25% extra damage while aiming, which I was kind of meh about. So far I crafted like 6 different Pepper Shakers or so, and as lucky as I was with obtaining the plan for the Pepper Shaker, I really had some bad luck crafting them. Like, I think I even got 3 scorched versions or so, and I often got limp damage and all that jazz. So yeah, I really didn't get a good version. And yeah, the last one I crafted was this year Furious version with 25 damage while aiming, and initially I thought, well, I mean, it's not bad, obviously, but yeah, I was kind of underwhelmed. But then I decided to give it a try, and actually it turns out, yeah, this weapon is pretty decent. Comparing it to the ones I used before, I really had a great time using this one here. Um, Obviously, it's still not super good. For a character outside of power armor, my very obvious choice would have been using an anti-armor version. I would really be interested to see how good that would work, but so far I can't really complain, honestly. The damage output is good, then Furious works rather well on shotguns because, yeah, as far as I'm aware, it's always a bit hard to verify because the damage numbers on shotguns can be quite confusing just because there are so many. But yeah, every single pellet that hits the enemy can individually increase your Furious effect. Now this can obviously be bad also if you're firing this at a crowd of ghouls, for example. Yeah, just one stray pellet that hits another enemy resets your Furious effect, but overall I would say that, yeah, it works rather well. Also, the spread is very easy to handle compared to other shotguns, in my opinion, and we don't even have stabilized in addition to Skeet Shooter. We just utilize Skeet Shooter, and I would already say that, yeah, the spread is rather well. It's pretty well balanced, to be honest, that, yeah, you have something around 90 range, I think, on this weapon, which is okay. It's not bad for a shotgun, at least. And the spread pretty much makes it so that you're always going to use this weapon within your range anyways. If you saw someone using it in power armor, yeah, if you really combine the benefits from Skeet Shooter and Stabilized, you can get such great accuracy that you're tempted to use the weapon outside of its intended range, which leads to less damage output, which can be fun still. Simply because, yeah, just by using a bit more ammo, you can easily bring down foes from a rather big distance, for a shotgun at least. But, yeah, it's not ammo efficient. On the other hand, I gotta say that, yeah, ammo efficiency is not really the strong suit of this weapon anyway. I mean, I probably don't have to tell you, but, yeah, a fully automatic shotgun Gatling gun hybrid, yeah, it doesn't scream ammo efficiency exactly. If you compare this to something like an anti-armor combat shotgun, for example, yeah, I would say you need like 3 times as much ammo overall than you would do with the combat shotgun. But ammo is rather easy to come by, I think. I never really had a big problem getting lots of shotgun shells, and after all, it's not as bad as as I intentionally thought. Like, yeah, using the weapon first, I was thinking like, damn, I'm going to burn through thousands of shotgun shells probably, but in all reality, it was actually rather manageable. Okay, thought this guy was dead already. Um, yeah. For example, we started the video here with around 1,600 shotgun shells, so we burned around 200 of them, which yet again is quite a lot for a shotgunner. On the other hand, it's really manageable also. And yeah, a bit more about the weapon itself. I am utilizing the absolute standard weapon. The only change I made is I used the dual barrel compared to the 4-barrel attachment that is the standard one you're getting the weapon with. I decided against the reflex sight just because, yeah, we're completely outside of using VATS, so I didn't really feel it's necessary, and I didn't really feel like it adds a lot to the character itself. So yeah, I feel like I can handle the weapon rather well this way, and yeah, I'm quite happy with the setup here. The dual barrel, interestingly enough, seemed to add fire rate to my weapon rather than decrease it, which was initially what I thought it would do. It does more damage than the standard barrel, and yeah, I thought that, yeah, having only 2 barrels meant that I'm getting a bit more damage for the price of a little bit less fire rate, but actually it pumped my fire rate up from something around 45 or so to 60 or something. We're going to take a look at it later, which was surprising to me. Another thing I saw quite regularly with other people showcasing the weapon was that pretty much all of them went for the fusion cell attachment, so that you're shooting lasers rather than the shotgun shells we are using at the moment, which will increase your damage a tiny bit, as far as I remember, but I didn't want to do that for multiple reasons. Now, the first one is, outside of power armor, you, as I said, have no armor penetration perks, and yeah, armor penetration always seems to be the downside when it comes to laser weapons. So, yeah, in order to not fall into that trap, we are utilizing this version here. Then, in addition to that, we do also have the grounded mutation, just to give us a little bit more energy resistance on our character. So, yeah, we would have done a little bit less damage with the laser weapon anyways. And lastly, I just think that I mean, this is completely personal, but the laser and plasma modifications for this weapon don't really work for me in terms of optics. Like, I think it just looks stupid and bad, and as Captain Noob, for example, pointed out, it's a bit half-assed in my opinion, because your impact still is the same as if you would use shotgun shells, but you're shooting lasers, so overall it's not really pleasing to use in my opinion, and I find that I had way more fun with this version here, just the shotguns. Now, another big thing I saw, which doesn't make a whole lot of a difference, is, but yeah, most people showcasing the weapon basically tried to, or saw this weapon as an addition to the heavy gunner class that also double dips with the shotgunners, and we're basically using it on heavy gunners and using it like a heavy gunner. And yeah, I switched it around a little by using it on a shotgunner character and basically seeing it as a addition to the shotgunner class. On paper, that doesn't make a whole lot of a difference, but I really think this is a better shotgun rather than a new, better heavy gun, if that makes sense. Like, if you are on a heavy gunner, you do have access to some pretty good weapons already, and this weapon here will not will not extend your arsenal by any significant means. You can do pretty much the same with other heavy weapons, if not better. On this occasion though, yeah, in terms of shotguns, this is definitely a really good addition. Bit bugged here, like I was getting stuck and had the animation for a fall, interestingly enough. But yeah, anyways. As you see during the video, we're actually doing well. I mean, we're obviously burning through quite a lot of shotgun shells, but other than that, there's nothing to complain about. Now, you do have a little bit of a spin-up time, which is always a bit of an inconvenience, but on this occasion, it actually has one benefit to it, if you want to call it that, which is, I told you, like, in the beginning that we do have the 25% extra damage while aiming legendary effect on our weapon, and as most of you probably know, this effect has a little bit of a timer to it. Like, it doesn't work immediately when you're playing, when you're aiming down sights. You do have to actually aim for quite a few seconds, or not quite a few seconds, but I would guess like 1 or 2 seconds. And what the spin-up barrel does is it basically makes it so you more often get the benefit from this effect. Oftentimes, if you're using a weapon with this effect, you're killing enemies before this effect even is taken into consideration. And with the spin-up barrel, this is a little bit reduced. Now, you're still going to fire faster than the effect needs to kick in, but yeah, you're definitely getting a bit more bang for your buck when it comes to this effect. Okay, there it is. This guy here is basically trolling me at this point. Okay, now he runs away. Well, we can follow him. And yeah, I was just thinking about what else to say, but really, yeah, this weapon was covered very well. Another big benefit that people see in this weapon is how good it is at crippling enemies, which obviously is the case. But I personally, for example, think that yeah, using one gun army in addition to Enforcer is absolute overkill on this weapon. Just because yeah, Enforcer already is a very powerful perk when it comes to crippling enemies, and adding another 3 perk points in order to just cripple enemies even faster is just not necessary in my opinion. You're already shooting fast, and a single shot from a shotgunner, if it hits, pretty much assures you to cripple your enemy anyways. So yeah, that's something we didn't really do here. The only thing I did in terms of double dipping basically is adding some more damage by utilizing the rank 1 of the heavy gunner perks, but that's pretty much it. Another thing I would have liked to do is increase the reload speed even further, but honestly I found out that I was reloading quite well fast anyways. So I decided to use these 3 points in order to boost my to equip the blocker perk, just to have a little bit more, or basically a lot more, defense against melee enemies. So yeah, I really like the weapon. I think it's very satisfying to use. It's a lot of fun, and as you see there down the bottom, yeah, we're now down to under 1,000 shots, and that means we're burned through like something like 600 shotgun shells during the video, which is a lot for shotgun shells, but actually not that bad, I think. This could actually be a funny weapon. I'm trying to make an Alistair build once I have the once I have all the apparel, but yeah, even though the Alistair sword skin says it's working for most one-handed edged melee weapons, that's a complete lie. The only weapon I found so far that it can be used for is the guitar sword of all things. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe for the baton it works, but yeah. Anyways, this was the gameplay part of the video, guys, and I hope you enjoyed it so far. Just a little bit of a different take on the Pepper Shaker so far. And now we're going to take a look at the perks, mutations, and everything else. So yeah, thanks for sticking with me so far, and let's get right into it. So first and foremost, we're going to take a look at our mutations, as I just said. As you can see here, we're very bare bones. We only have grounded, marsupial, scaly skin, and speed demon. So marsupial and speed demon, pretty straightforward. Faster movement speed, faster reload speed, more jump height. All the standard jazz, not a lot to talk about here. Scaly skin reduces our AP by very little. We do have Class Freak on, but gives us 50 damage and energy resistance, which is nice, making us more tanky. And basically this pumps up our defense a bit over the diminishing returns curve. So yeah, basically we're maxing out our defense a little bit with this here mutation, and the cost of minus 12 AP is already low, but keep in mind we're not using our AP for anything other than sprinting, basically, since we're not using VATS. And lastly, we do have the grounded mutation, which I touched upon briefly. Less energy gun damage means that, yeah, if we were to use the fusion cells for this weapon here, I guess we would have a little bit less damage than could be possible, but we're not doing that anyway, and in return we're getting 100 energy resistance, which is nice, I guess. So as you can see here, very bare bones, very few mutations. You can obviously try to bring in stuff like, adrenal reaction could be nice to have. It's always pretty much never a bad choice. Egghead would not be bad, but to be honest, there's not a lot you need here, that's the point. For once, I don't have eagle eyes or how's it called, bird bones, which is very rare. Most of my builds have those mutations, but yeah. And now let's move on. We're going to take a look at the equipment now. So here it is, the Furious Pepper Shaker with 25% extra damage while aiming, with the dual barrel, and the rest is all standard. Now I do like how the weapon looks a lot. The only thing I find kind of stupid and ridiculous is the drum underneath the weapon, this cut in half magazine from the minigun. It just looks a bit stupid in my opinion because I mean, I'm not a gun person. I said that in a lot of videos so far, but I just can't find any sensible use for this. It looks like a bug that makes it so half of the weapon doesn't appear. So yeah, there's that. But that's just a minor complaint. Overall, I think the weapon is quite cool. In terms of condition, we started with around 140%, so it actually holds on rather well. I found that I did not have any problems with that. The weapon holds on very long. If you repair it to 200%, you can keep it going for basically ever. So that's a nice thing to have here. And yeah, nothing to say else. Okay, I was quite right with the fire rate, at least what I said earlier. It was boosted to 61 by my dual barrel. As I said, I think I was somewhere around 40 or 45 with the standard barrel, which still strikes me as odd a little bit because I thought that, yeah, more barrels meant more fire rate. But, well, that's just me. A range of 96 is rather cool compared to, let's see here. I mean, it's a bit stupid because I went for the sawn-off shotgun. So yeah, we have a range of 36 and 36 respectively on the pump shotgun. They can go like 3 times as high. So I guess in terms of range, this is a pretty standard shotgun. In terms of damage, it isn't all that high. 120 isn't crazy compared to like the damage of my explosive other shotguns. But on the other hand, yeah, you do have quite a high fire rate compared to them. Now, these both quad explosive double barrel and pump action do have quite a good fire rate as well, even though it doesn't say it. Like, for example, this here has a fire rate of 7, as you can see, but it's way faster. You just have to basically pull the trigger all the time, and then, yeah, you have the double barrel shotgun, which basically goes as fast as you can pull the trigger, but, yeah. Okay, I saw something move. I think we still have something to kill over there. Have they respawned? Okay, we're out of adrenaline again, so it takes a bit longer, but we're taking the legendary, I guess. Bit of script. Never hurt nobody. Okay. We bring in the double barrel here. Okay, but I still hear another guy. Where is he? These guys are always trolling me. I mean, they didn't attack me. I was attacking them, so it's a bit on me, but... Okay. Fuck off, guy. And, yeah. Let's move on. We're now going to take a look at the armor. Sorry for this short inconvenience here, but I felt like I had to kill these guys. So, in terms of armor, we have a full set of Vanguard Marine armor. And this one here is nice. AP refresh and break slower is certainly a good thing. Then we do have a little bit of extra radiation resistance. This one's a 1-star. This one has endurance, which is kind of nice, helping us a little bit with being a bit more tanky. Also has the harder to detect while sneaking effect built in, but we don't really utilize that in any capacity. And then we have another one with AP refresh and Cavalier. Cavalier would work rather well on this build, I guess, but having only one piece makes it so that this doesn't really matter anyways. And yeah, that's it. In terms of apparel, we went for the Bloody Charmer outfit. Blood Eagle Charmer outfit, sorry, I think it's called. Let's take a double look here. Blood Eagle Charmer Blues outfit. Radar Pathfinder bandana. Those two work very well together in my opinion. An eye patch just because badassery, I guess. And yeah, the Radar Pillager backpack. I mean, in terms of backpack, I wasn't too keen on anything. But yeah, this was the best, I think. So overall, yeah, we're kind of a battle-hardened Blood Eagle bitch. Yeah, the aesthetics work quite well, I guess. Work well with the Pepper Shaker as well, but yeah. That's it in terms of equipment, so not a lot to say here. I just see that I'm not running with any honor armor at the moment. I'm not sure why that happened, but yeah, you want something that boosts your endurance, basically. Not a lot else to utilize, so go for something like the Shielded Brotherhood under armor or something like that. But as you saw here, we were doing well without anything as well, so you can go with whatever you like, basically. And that leaves us with the perks, which we're going to take a look at here. And yeah, for once we're starting with the most interesting perk tree here, which is strength. And I had these here in kind of a neat order in order to showcase them better, but something I never noticed before is if you log out and log back in, for some reason my strength perks are always mixed through for some reason. I don't know why. I mean, I have the same perks equipped, but yeah. Anyways, we do have Master Heavy Gunner, and Expert Heavy Gunner at rank 1, giving us 10% extra damage each, which is nice. And then we do have rank 1 of Shotgunner, rank 2 of Master Shotgunner, and rank 3 of Expert Shotgunner. You could just go for rank 2 in each of them. You could also go for rank 2 in each of the Master Heavy Gunner and go for rank 1 in the Shotgunner perks. You can freely mix these as you wish. Basically, the more you put in, the more damage you get. It's pretty straightforward here. The reason I'm not just maxing out the Shotgunner perks or the Heavy Gunner perks is, yeah, the first rank of each of the damage perks gives you extra 10% damage, while the subsequent second and third rank give you extra 5 damage. So we're jumping from 10 extra damage to 15 extra damage with Master Heavy Gunner at rank 2, and then 20 extra damage at rank 3. So if you can, you always want to have as much of the first ranks of these cards in order to maximize your damage output. Ever since damage has been additive, we're not talking about a crazy amount here. I think one of these perks here, these 1-stars, basically makes a difference of 6 damage or something like that. So we currently are at 114 damage, and equipping Heavy Gunner again, we are at 120. So you see, yeah, it's 6 damage, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it definitely makes a difference. And in addition to that, the only thing we had here is Scatter Shot, which makes it so we can reload faster, and our weapon weighs less, which is definitely a nice thing to have. And then lastly, we do have Blocker, which I already touched upon during the video, making it so that, yeah, if we get hit by melee enemies, it's not as bad. We're reducing damage input by 45%. I guess you could definitely use more damage perks and not use Blocker. What you could otherwise do is just equip something that makes you reload even faster. There's a lot of potential ways to deal with situations here. It's basically the same old story when it comes to min-maxing these double-dipping builds. There's just a bit of compromise you have to do. You can't take everything. Like, if we're looking at strength and say we would want to use every single Heavy Gunner and Shotgunner perk, we would be looking at 12 points already from Shotgunner perks, meaning Shotgunner, Expert, and Master Shotgunner at rank 3, Scatter Shot at rank 3, and then when it comes to heavy guns, it gets really crazy, like add another 9 to make it 24, 21 perk points already just to get Heavy Gunner, Expert, and Master Heavy Gunner at rank 3. Then we could have Bullet Shield, another 3 perk points, adding up to 24. Then Lock and Load, another 3 points in order to reload faster, so we're at 27 already. Then what do we have now? Yeah, what you could add would be bare arms to reduce the weight even further, which is unnecessary, but you could do that. So you see, there's a ton of perk points you could spend theoretically. I'm easily managed to come up with 30 of them, and also I really went to the edge here when it comes to my math skills. So, whew, now my brain matter is kind of dead. Okay, moving on here. We have Perception, which we're not using for any capacity when it comes to VETs. So it doesn't add any precision to our build or anything like that, so the passive benefits from perception are pretty much null on this occasion. But we do have Skeet Shooter, which is definitely a very good perk here, increasing the accuracy and spread of our shotgun. As I said, you can even increase that by using Stabilized when we are in power armor, but outside of power armor, it already, Skeet Shooter does the job rather well. You saw that during the video. At close to mid-range, we can very successfully hit an enemy with pretty much all of our pellets, which is basically the reason we want to do that. As much pellets as possible should hit our enemy, and therefore we can do more damage overall. So that's basically everything I have to say about perception here, obviously. Then we go over to endurance. Being outside of power armor, I wanted to have a lot of endurance, and on this occasion, we actually didn't need a whole lot of perk points somewhere else, which is a privilege we not often have, to be honest. So what I went for here is Life Giver. I mean, it's give or take. Some people think it's a waste of perk points because, yeah, it's a rather hefty investment in terms of points, just to give you 45% extra health points. But on the other hand, we are at 15 endurance. There's not a lot we need drastically here. Then we do have Ghoulish, which comes in handy when you're fighting ghouls, obviously, and also comes in handy when you're fighting around a fissure site. So I think Ghoulish is actually one of the best perks when it comes to defense, even though it seems very situational just on paper. Then we do have Adamantium Skeleton, completely nullifying every damage to our limbs, so we're never going to be crippled, which is nice. And lastly, Fireproof, the pretty much stock standard survival perk when it comes to endurance. And lastly, that left us with 2 perk points, which I used for Cam Fiend. Nothing you definitely need here, but yeah, having 60% longer lasting cams is definitely a nice thing, so you can go for Psycho Buff, which would basically be my cam of choice. Another nice thing what you can do is, if you really want to increase your spread, you can just stack some Formula P. So yeah, I'm sure you find use here. Then we go on to Charisma, which we only use for rank 3 of Tenderizer, giving us extra damage after it's the first hit, which we have an automatic weapon. We always hit more than once. This isn't a one-shot weapon, at least unless you have maybe something like a Blood Eater or so. But yeah, Tenderizer pretty straightforward, and yeah, you could basically make an argument that we would have a way better benefit from decreasing our endurance by 4 and using those 4 perk points that we put into Life Giver just to switch over to Charisma and use it for Lone Wanderer if we're not in a team. 20% less damage overall is definitely a better perk than 45 extra hit points, but yeah, I really try to not always use Tenderizer and Lone Wanderer in my builds, just because, yeah, I don't want to get too boring and want to switch up things a little bit. But keep in mind, this would be the better decision, probably. That leaves us with Intelligence, which is at 8, so we do use First Aid at rank 3. We do have Born Survivor if you take a quick look to the right in Agility, so yeah, every time we get to 20% health, basically, we get a stim pack automatically induced, and First Aid makes it so this stim pack will probably always heal us up to around 100% of our health, which is just nice to have, in my opinion. You can always just go for the approach to manually use stim packs and use more than one. But I think on this occasion it actually isn't a bad idea to have Born Survivor or an auto stim piece on, for the simple reason that, yeah, as others pointed out in their showcase videos, the Pepper Shaker has this spin up time, and every weapon that has the spin up time has the problem that as long as the barrel is spinning, you're basically blocked from actions like opening your Pip-Boy, I think it is, if you're not having the sight, which just changes the HUD, or using a stim pack, more importantly. Yeah, so therefore it can be a bit inconvenient to use stim packs manually, and having a perk that does this automatically is nice, and yeah, First Aid makes this more efficient. And then we do see a perk here, Demolition Expert, which is completely useless on this occasion here. You're never going to get a explosive Pepper Shaker, basically Bethesda removed the ability to get one of those. So yeah, for us here, this does nothing except for maybe if you want to throw some grenades here and there. The only reason I do have it here is because usually for shotguns, explosive is a nice perk, and as you saw there, both of my backup shotguns do have the explosive effect. So if I want to utilize them, I get a benefit from Demo Expert. And otherwise, there's not a lot we need here. You could obviously go for Gunsmith. If you do that, you're basically running this weapon for ages, I guess. Haven't tried it, but yeah, you should be able to use this for days and days and days. So that could be a nice idea, but I think Demo Expert is never a bad idea. And after all, we want to have at least some intelligence going on in order to level up at least a little bit faster. And yeah, that leaves us with agility here, which we use for Enforcer. Very straightforward perk choice here. Good stagger chance and especially good crippling chance. This really gives the weapon a lot of man-stopping power. Now the crippling chance is obviously nice, and you saw it in effect during the video a lot. You can basically force Scorched Beasts to land for you if you cripple their limbs, their wings more precisely. Ghouls become pretty easy, and basically every melee enemy in this game can be more or less nullified if you just cripple its legs. In terms of robots, you can basically cripple the whole chassis away, so yeah, that's nice. And in addition to that, the stagger chance makes it so that, yeah, getting swarmed, the risk of getting swarmed is a little bit reduced. Then we do have Born Survivor. I briefly touched upon it, not a lot to say here. If you fall below 20% health, we automatically use a Stimpack, which is nice. And the last perk points went into White Knight and Adrenaline. Adrenaline, very straightforward pick. If you have the perk points for it, it's always a good decision to use it. It just gives you extra damage over time during fights if you're just killing some enemies. And then we do have White Knight, which is a perk I really like on builds like this, where we are always in danger and never really sneaking or something like that. So yeah, I find it very boring to just repair my armor every now and then, and I think using White Knight really is a good choice here, and it actually works rather well. My armor set, I didn't have to repair any of it ever since I started using this build, which is like, we're talking about 12 hours of gameplay, something like that, and the armor pieces weren't all repaired to 200%. I would say some of them were at 120%, and some of them were even at 80% or so. So, yeah, definitely held on for a while. Also, if we want to repair our weapons, we don't need as much resources, especially ballistic fiber. And that leaves us with luck here, where we do have Class Freaks, Starch Genes, and Bloody Mess. Not a lot we need, actually. So that's basically it. You could use Luck of the Draw to basically increase your condition even further. You could double down on your defense by adding Ricochet or something like that, but there's no real synergy going on here with the weapon effect and Ricochet, so it would just be a bit 18% damage reduction from ranged enemies, more or less. So yeah, ultimately I found that there's nothing we desperately need here, and so I went for Bloody Mess, which usually isn't the best perk, but as I saw earlier, we do use Heavy Gunner at rank 1, which gives us 10% extra additional damage, and yeah, with Bloody Mess we have 15% extra, so that's a nice pick in my opinion. And lastly, we do have Class Freak. Yeah, not the most necessary on this occasion, but yeah, never hurts if you, especially if you want to add more mutations to that build, which you can definitely do. And then we take a look at our legendary perks. Not the most interesting here, so as always, I'm going to showcase the extra special points that come from legendary perks are pretty much straightforward, just giving us access to more perk points. So we do have intelligence, endurance, agility, and strength at rank 2 here. Not a lot to say here. And then the only interesting legendary perks here are Ward Rats. Simple reason, we're in relatively close proximity to enemies, meaning that especially melee enemies oftentimes irradiate us for a little bit, and Ward Rats nullifies this a little bit. And lastly, we do have Far-Flung Fireworks at rank 1. Obviously, higher ranks, more fun. Sometimes your enemy explodes when you kill them. I wouldn't really argue that it's very effective or adds a lot to your overall damage output, but it's definitely nice and fun, and we saw it during the video a few times, which is always a nice surprise, if it happens. And yeah, guys, that was basically it. That was my take on the Pepper Shaker so far, and obviously I am going to make another one in the future where I want to see want to look a bit more into getting more out of the weapon. Basically, using power armor and stabilized will be a must. I will also try to find a better Pepper Shaker. Um, I'm still convinced that no matter what, unless you want to go bloody, probably the best version would be an anti-armor one. And yeah, anti-armor, either 25 damage while aiming or faster fire rate will probably be my go-to approach. Um, to be honest, there's not a lot. If you're leaving out the primary effect, there's not a lot that you desperately need on this weapon. To be honest, like vampires could be very cool, but on the other hand, it makes you basically immortal. But I think just because you're burning through quite a lot of ammo, you probably want something that rather boosts your damage. And I think yeah, anti-armor is the go-to approach here. But other than that, for a full health build, I actually think. Um, Yeah, you could go aristocrats if you are over 30k caps. Obviously, that would be better. But other than that, I think Furious actually works rather well on this weapon. So if you try to get a good pepper shaker and somehow find a Furious one in the meantime, go on, use it. It's actually making a big difference compared to a standard one. And yeah, that was it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it and see you next time. Bye.